Welcome to J is for Justice podcast. If live breaking news and following true crime is your thing, then please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you like what you see in my videos, please consider giving them a thumbs up. Hello, happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Are y'all drinking some green beer? Happy St. Patty's Day. Look at Kells has the cute little shamrock. What's up, guys? Sorry I was a little late. I never let my intro play that long. I feel bad. But there's a lot going on here. I've got my granddaughter for spring break. So we're working around things to get my streams done. So I appreciate your patience. Hey, Yura, Kay, Elisa, Bex, Miss Andrew B, Southern Ishi, happy St. Patty's. Hello, Sherry, baby. Melissa B, I hope you're feeling better today. We had a fun night in Discord last night. Hey, Evelyn. Evelyn from Michigan. Heather, thank you for watching my old Watts videos. I appreciate that. Cat's Eye, Gigi. Good to see y'all. At least you're awake. My grandson's doing a lot better. Thank you, Ishi. Hey, Avi. Hey, Nicole G and Lucia. Mountain Wanderer. Jody, good to see you guys this afternoon. Thanks for coming in. So after we had our wonderful discussion the other day on this topic of Idaho 4, amazing, discussion with Clue. I really enjoyed that. Alabama and Chris, good to see you, and Danny. Welcome in, everybody. So after that amazing conversation we had, put a 1 in chat if you enjoyed that conversation and discussion, because I was really excited because Clue had gone down some of the same routes that we did. I thought I did, UA. Hold on. She had gone down some of the same avenues that we did, and I think it's cool to discuss it now, and we're planning on, doing some dual streaming and going back, and I think that'll be awesome. Let me add Miss Trisha. For making it happen. I want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you. Where is it at under again? I don't remember, UA. For making it happen. Thank you. A lot of you guys did hear it, and it was a good conversation, was it not? Thank you. For making it happen. I want to say thank you. Aw, Betsy, thank you. Oh, Sophia, UA, I don't know how to do it. Thank you so much, Betsy. Let's get that pinned. Happy Monday. Hope everybody has a great week. Same to you. Same to you. And then we've got Sophia. Miss Sophia Petrillo, Cat's Eye. One Harry fan. Loaded Hot, Sweet and Sleuthy, and Gigi. Welcome to the Clicker Crew. It's good to have you. Hey, Regina. Hey, Trisha. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to add her. I went in there, community settings. Okay. Settings. Community. I put everybody can redirect, but I'll put her channel specifically. Hold on. Give me 1 second, guys. Trisha Talks. Copy link. Trisha Talks. Okay. I did it, Trisha Talks. All right, Trisha's going to be redirecting her listeners. Hopefully it works. You guys, if you're not subbed up to Trisha Talks, I will give you her link right meow, and you guys can sub up to her. Okay, I think we've got it. I think we've got it set. Hi, Lucia. One-eyed Flo, there you are. See, I summoned you. You're dodging tornadoes. I hope you guys are all staying safe. Bex, I was captivated listening to all the information. It is great. I like Trish too. It worked for you. Yay. Welcome in. Welcome in, Trisha's listeners. Thank you for joining, Parody. Parody. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Aw, One-Eyed Flo, thank you for your $10 super chat.
For making it happen.
Thanks, Jay, for all you do.
For making it happen.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for all you guys do. I know that things have gotten a little crazy here on the tubes and... Oh, Limey, good to see you. I think it did work. People said it did. Thank you, Trish. Hi, Hazel. It's good to see everybody today. Mississippi was wild weather. I heard there's like 30 some odd people that perished in these storms. It's really, really sad. But happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Have you guys ever gone out and drank green beer? I have a St. Patty's story. You guys want to hear it? Hey, cram it. So one year, we did this a couple times, but the last time I did it was the last time I did it. And I took the day off work. And me and my girlfriend, this is when I lived in Michigan, we went to the local pub there in Romeo called Younger's Irish Tavern. And we were there at like 7 a.m. We were eating Scottish eggs and drinking that green beer, which was a huge mistake. Don't ever do it. Just don't do it. I don't recommend it. So we started at like 7, 8 a.m. I won concert tickets that day. Like, it was just a great day. Like, I had the best day ever. Until I got home at 4 p.m. And I wasn't in such a good shape. Hey, Tommy. Garden glitter. Dude, I was not in good shape at 4 p.m. So, get this. Like, my kids were in high school. And, like, they got home from school, whatever. They're all in their rooms. And I was, like, in my room. I'm sick. I got so sick off that beer. Oof. Yeah, 4 p.m., dude. It was bad. You woke up 440 miles away. That's not a good idea. Just got some Michigan bud from the dispensary. Trouble, man. YouTube Snack Cart has Shamrock Shakes available upon request. Thank you, Snack Cart. Oh, is she? It was bad. It was really bad. That happened to you on Cinco de Mayo. I know. We just can't handle it. We go out once a year and it's like, oh my gosh. But the green beer, it's just draft beer with food coloring. That's so gross. It's just so gross. Limey says, can't we have a St. Squirrel's Day or St. Cooter's Day just for laughs? We could. St. Cooter. Blarney. I'm not a fan of Shamrock Shakes. They taste like toothpaste. The older you get, the worse the hangovers are. Yeah, this was years ago. This was probably, if I had to guess, I would say, because I moved down here in 2019, that was probably like 2017 or some shit. St. Cooter's Day. I have not done that since, nor will I probably ever. But it is. I can drink a glass of wine and have a headache the next day. It's just not the same. They taste like straight up chemicals. Yeah, it's just not good. It's not good. Tastes like Listerine. Yeah, I'm not a fan of mint food. But I do have a goal up there of 5 super chats. And then you guys get to pick a stream of your choice. We will stream about whatever y'all want. All right, so let's get back into, yeah, I'm not down with dye. Black and tans are far the better choice. Yeah, I know. But you know us Americans, we do the green beer and we think we're Irish. And the Scottish eggs. I don't recommend green beer and Scottish eggs. That is not a good mix. Sign out front said free sugar-free cookies. They weren't bud-free, though. Oh, that's awesome. I haven't had a drink for 14 years. Drank myself sick on my 50th birthday. Grew up finally. You can't even use mint shampoo. Saint False Prophet Craig's Day. Do you know that Craig hashtags the mark of the BEAST on his YouTube? Happy St. Patrick's Day to you, Kels. Thank you so much for your $9.99 super chat. I think I got a super chat. Super chat. Vibrator says it's so sad that all these creators have already convicted Bryan Kohberger. I can't watch. Thank you so much. Butter. Happy St. Patty's to you. Yeah, but he does. He hashtags Mark of the Beast. That's weird, right? Hey, Tammy. Tammy Clips. Dororo. All right, so let's get into this. So we're going to be going over, first of all, DM's, that is Dylan Mortenson's statements to police. And I want to shout out Clue for bringing this to my attention because I did not see this. And she brought it up and emailed it to me. So I'm really grateful for that. Okay. So it says, thank you, Ishi, for your $19.99 super chat. Happy St. Patrick's Day, Cooters. We at the Chamber will be working on St. Cooters Day. She's our Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, Ishi. And I hope you're feeling better, too. Everybody's been sick on and off. Okay, you guys carry on amongst yourselves. I will be back to check the chat. Right now, I'm going to read the document. Hey, J-Lo. If I missed anybody, hello, and hit that like button on your way in. So this was filed by the state, and this says witness identification by bushy eyebrows, which is just crazy, right? So what they're wanting is the evidence of bushy eyebrows thrown out. Like they want that witness account or that witness ID account to not be mentioned in the trial. Okay. So that's what they're saying. Excluding any evidence referencing bushy eyebrows. So this was order in limine, which means they did this in private. And then now we're getting to see it because the judge is slowly, I'm going to call it like the great reveal. They're slowly revealing to us what's been locked up since 2022. And I don't know like what the judge's, method is to making some of the stuff public and making some of it not. Nonetheless, this is what we're getting. So you have to really look at each document because you're not really sure what's in it unless you actually read it. Because some of these might look like it's just a bunch of legal mumbo jumbo. But when you break these ones down, there is a lot in here. So it says the issue of witness ID is a critical one at the trial. That is the subject of much litigation. That is because the reliability of witness ID, and then they go on to cite case law against witness IDs. In this case, which is the Idaho 4, the description provided by DM is unreliable and should be excluded. Although she has never identified Mr. Kohberger, testimony by Dylan from the witness stand, so Dylan testified in front of the grand jury, Describing bushy eyebrows while Mr. Kohberger sits as the accused at trial will be damning as her pointing to him and saying, quote, he is the man that did this. Or would be as damning as her pointing and saying he did it. When considering whether ID by a witness is reliable, the Idaho Supreme Court has applied the Manson-Biggers balancing tests, which looks at 1, the opportunity of the witness to view the criminal at the time of the crime, 2, the witness's degree of attention, 3, the accuracy of the witness's prior description of the criminal, and 4, the level of certainty demonstrated at the identification, and 5, the length of time between the crime and the identification. When the Manson-Biggers balancing test is applied to the facts of this case, the reliability of the witness ID is non-existent. DM is the only person alive who is known to have seen the intruder. She only saw the intruder briefly. Her recollection or lack thereof is filled with uncertainty, fuzziness, the influence of alcohol, dreaming, and sleepiness. She did not see the intruder well enough to describe him to a composite artist. After Mr. Kohberger was arrested, she did not recognize him from a photo. So these are all facts that the defense is putting out. So we go down to the relevant facts, and this is where we're going to get some details on DM's interviews. Let's see. Who did we have join? Oh, she who sees. You always get me on that tongue twister. Thank you for 4 months, almost halfway for a J baby. You got it. That bun is cooking, baby. All right. Thank you for your support. Bushy eyebrows. Number 1, interviews on November 13th, 2022. On November 13th, 2022, Dylan Mortensen was inside the house when the murders occurred and saw a figure dressed in black. Hereinafter, the intruder. When she peeked out her bedroom door around 4 a.m., shortly after seeing the intruder, she went downstairs to Bethany Funk's room. So we hear in this that Dylan did end up downstairs with Bethany, right? The 2 girls fell asleep. Roughly 8 hours later, a 911 call was made from Bethany's phone at 11:56 a.m., which we've played. More than 8 hours after seeing the intruder, DM was interviewed by law enforcement at the scene and at the police department. It was confusing to DM that the intruder looked at her, but did not come towards her or say anything. So this was an interview she did with Nunez, because it says here that it's Exhibit 2, the body cam transcript of Nunez. So, so when she described the intruder to Officer Nunez at the scene, she described the height, build, and clothing of the intruder. Her description did not mention eyebrows. So when she first talked to Officer Nunez, there was no bushy eyebrows mentioned. When she called Bethany Funk before going downstairs to Bethany's room, Dylan said she was kind of, quote, in and out of it. I was really tired. And we were talking about this last night in Discord a little bit. Remember being 19 and getting drunk? Most of us did it. Now imagine when you get home. Remember having a night out of partying when you were a teenager or young 20s, and you finally get home and you finally get in your own bed. Like, I remember being the type of person that would party and I could not wait to get home to my own bed. And I was one of those people that didn't want to sleep anywhere. I wanted my bed. And when I got home to my bed, oh boy, did I love my bed. You know what I'm saying? Like, that bed was the most comfortable that it's ever been. So she gets in her, yeah, it's like the best feeling in the world, right? So you get in your bed and you're all like, oh, you just crash. Well, then you get woken up, right? So what state of mind are you going to be in when you wake up? And, you might be thinking that people are effing around first. You're still like that with your bed, Gigi. I mean, you got to think of the people that were in and out of that house. There were pranks, and stuff like that. So let's keep going. All right. So when she described it to Officer Nunez, she didn't mention the eyebrows. She said she was in and out of it. I was really tired. Later, when she was interviewed at the police department, she was now interviewed by Detective Mowry, and he inquired about facial features. So Nunez just asked her to describe height, build, clothing, right? And we don't know if he asked her to do that or if that's just what she offered. Like Nunez could have said, what kind of clothes was he wearing? What's his height? What was his build? Da, da, da. But then Detective Mowry actually asked about the facial features and asked DM. Now, look at this. This is true because look at it's Exhibit E3, the Mowry interview transcript. Detective Mowry inquired about facial features, which is normal, right? Like nose, mouth, cheekbones, stuff like that. But then Detective Mowry asked DM if she knew what color the intruder's eyebrows were. Is that an odd question, do you think? Hey, Rebel. It's good to see you. But do you guys think that that is a weird, question? Like, what color were the eyebrows? I mean, usually eyebrows are brown unless you have, red hair or you're, really, really blonde and you have light eyebrows, right? Some people have light eyebrows. But to ask, I've never heard anyone ask, what color were their eyebrows? Oh, I guess maybe because she said all she could see was the eyebrows. That makes sense. That makes total sense. She did not know the color of the intruder's eyes or eyebrows. What do you think of that? He asked her, what color? She said, I don't know. She said, quote, everything was kind of blurry. I don't fully remember it, end quote. So she tells him all I could see was his eyebrows. He says, okay, well, describe them. What color are they? She says, I don't know. That may be a way to determine hair color. Right. That makes sense. But she didn't remember. So during the Mowry interview, Dylan again mentioned that she was, quote, in and out of it because she was so tired. So I think in and out of it, drunk. Number 2, pictures on November 13th of 2022. Law enforcement took pictures of Dylan's room on November 13th, 2022 and November 19th of 2022. On her walls in her room were many pictures of eyes. Now look here. It says, I'm just reading these footnotes. Okay. With prominent eyebrows. So on the walls in her room were many pictures of eyes with prominent eyebrows, many of which she had drawn. Some of the eyebrows are heavy, voluminous, puffy, or perhaps subjectively bushy. And then they have the pictures as evidence. According to Detective Lake, he found, quote, artwork of human figures with an emphasis upon the eyes and eyebrows were pinned to corkboards, end quote. So do you think it's weird that they pointed out, now I don't know who Detective Lake is or where he's from. Maybe he's ISP. But do you find it odd that she had I mean, was she an artist? We don't know. Like, we don't know the context. Maybe she's an artist. Maybe she likes drawing eyes. Maybe she likes doing makeup. I don't know. I mean, maybe she was picking out eyebrow, like, I don't know, like eyebrow. What do you mean? Like, I don't know, like examples. Hey, Crystal. I don't know. I mean, it sounds like maybe she likes to draw. Maybe she likes to draw faces. I don't know. I would like to know more. And then it says number 3, the interview on November 17th of 2022. On November 17th, 4 days later, Dylan was interviewed by Detective Gooch and indicated that she was really asleep and probably very drunk when she woke up around 4 a.m. on November 13th, 2022. So in this interview, she met with Detective Gooch and Blaker. Blaker also wrote one of the PCAs, remember? I know, Gooch. These names. Throughout the interview, Dylan expressed uncertainty about what she heard and saw and did not know if it was real or if it was a dream or if her mind was playing with her. Quote, it just doesn't make sense. Dylan described the intruder and told Detective Gooch that she recalls seeing his eyebrows, his bushy eyebrows, but she did not recall the color of the eyebrows. She did not remember the eyes or the mouth, just the eyebrows. When she saw the intruder, she thought that the intruder was about 3 feet away from her, but that could be off since she was, quote, still a little bit drunk, end quote. She did not think she could remember enough to give composite for a composite artist. She could just recall the bushy eyebrows, but not the shape or color of them. In this interview, Detective Gooch asked if Dylan had anxiety, which led to Dylan stating that she had a lot of lucid dreams of being kidnapped or chased. She indicated that she watched Criminal Minds and fell asleep to crime podcasts. These lucid dreams began in high school. What do you think of that? So she's admitting to having dreams about being kidnapped or chased even before this happened. Another interview on December 1st. A half of a month later, DM was interviewed again and described the intruder. She did not see his eyes, but she saw, quote, 1 eyebrow or 2. But it was just like this bushy eyebrow, end quote. Do you guys think that she's going to be credible if she testifies? I mean, she's the one that testified in front of the grand jury, you guys. She testified this in front of the grand jury. So what did she say in front of the grand jury? All right, get your votes in. Yeah, the mind has a crazy way of coping with trauma, but does it still, if they used her for the grand jury, you think they'll still use her? I'm a little torn as well. I mean, I don't know what came out in the grand jury. You know what I mean? Okay, so it gets worse. All right. So then she says throughout the interview, she indicated she always had really bad dreams. She did not know what parts of her recollections were dreams and which part were real. When she woke up that morning, she did not fully understand what was a dream or not. In this interview, she stated that she thought that the person she saw was a fireman. She thought she saw a fireman. Right. And is the jury going to be torn, Gigi? Gigi's like, that's exactly why I'm torn. How does she know what is dream versus reality? How's the jury going to sit? How's that going to sit with a jury? Mm-hmm. So it makes you wonder, were these kids taking hallucinogenics? I don't know. It's just kind of wild. Okay, so number 5, the statement and the affidavit to support the arrest of Bryan Kohberger. On December 29th, 2022, a statement submitted by law enforcement in support of the arrest warrant used descriptive information from DM's interviews. Quote, DM described the figure as 5'10" or taller, male, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. This is from the statement of Brett Payne. So that was actually put in the PCA. Thank you so much, Shell. Keep up the great work you do. Thank you, Shell. We are one away from viewer's choice. Evelyn, 11 months. Thank you for your support. I was wondering if the kids were on something other than alcohol. It will be up to the jury to weigh her testimony. Hey, true crime and other stuff. I don't know, Jay, but the fact that her roommates were murdered the night she dreamed about a masked guy kind of debunks it being a dream. Dylan is reliable for timeline and knowing his size and knowing it was one guy. Yes, Mike. Good point. Maybe she just doesn't want to remember your mind is a powerful thing when you're going through something like that. Something traumatic. But the fact is, she's saying she, can't even remember what they looked like, if there was a unibrow, if it was two brows. But then they put it in the affidavit to put in front of the judge, right? Do you think they should have done that? That's part of the evidence they put in front of a judge. Like, oh, she said he had bushy eyebrows. It's like Kohberger's like trolling them.
For making it happen. I want to say thank you.
Brittany, she testified in front of the grand jury, but at that time the defense is not able to rebut. Right. Goal met. Thank you so much. Who met our goal? Nicole G. Thank you so much. Love deep dives with you. Happy Monday. Happy Monday to you too. It's me, Mike. BK knows he's busted. He just wants trial to relive the crime. Yeah, I think he really thinks that he, could have committed the perfect crime. Did anyone take a shower at 4:30? Why do you ask that, Be Well? But you guys need to tell me what kind of stream you want to do. It's viewer's choice. Whatever you guys want to do. Let's start throwing some ideas up in chat while I keep reading. So after Bryan Kohberger's arrest on December 30th of 2022, Dylan was again interviewed by Detective Lake and Detective Tollison. When she learned that an arrest had been made, she found a mugshot of Mr. Kohberger online. When asked if Mr. Kohberger was the person she saw in the house, she did not know if Mr. Kohberger was the intruder. She knew that the intruder had looked at her because of the, quote, bushy eyebrow. All that she remembered is, quote, some bushy eyebrow and all black and some sort of mask. Now, here we go. Grand jury testimony. So Dylan Mortensen went in front of the grand jury on May 15th of 2023. I can't imagine how nervous this girl was. Hey, 911. I feel like Alabama says, I feel like their actions are questionable, but I could also sympathize that they could have lost their life too that night and their BFFs died. I don't know that call. Broke my heart for them. Yeah. So here's the grand jury on May 15th, 2023. Subsequently, Dylan provided grand jury testimony and was questioned about what the intruder was wearing. She was again uncertain, and that testimony is attached, but not quoted verbatim here. So we have the motion in limine, Exhibit 10 of the grand jury testimony. So she said she wasn't sure what he was wearing at that time. So not even the all black. Jay, whatever happened to innocent until proven guilty? Well, I mean, if you're a juror, that's very important, right? We're not jurors. We can discuss. We can go with our gut. You know what I mean? We're not on the jury. Okay, so the reliability. Oh, thank you, Ishi.
For making it happen. I want to say thank you for making it happen.
$9.99. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ishi. Even though her mind is obviously not right, explain his car being in that area repeatedly. Why was he there that often? Makes no sense. Well, I guess we have to see all the evidence, Brittany. Like, we don't know all the evidence yet. Hopefully they have more than what we're seeing. Reliability of witness ID, opportunity to view. DM peeked out her door 3 times after 4 a.m. on November 13th, 2022. The third time, she saw a figure dressed in black. At the scene, she described the intruder as, quote, he was a little bit taller than me, and I couldn't really see much of him, but I'm almost positive he was wearing a full black outfit, and he had this mask that was just over his forehead and over his mouth, and he didn't say anything to me, like, at all. That's from Nunez's body cam. I'm going to read it again. This is exactly what she said. He was a little bit taller than me, and I couldn't really see much of him, but I'm almost positive he was wearing a full black outfit, and he had this mask that was just over his forehead and over his mouth, and he didn't say anything to me, like, at all. At the police department, her description of the intruder was similar. Quote, and then I opened the door again, and the guy is right there. And he's maybe my height, a few inches taller, not like skinny, athletic build. He has all black. He's wearing this mask that covers just his forehead. And here, and it goes like around, he was white. This is from the Detective Maury interview transcript. There were no lights on the stairs. Dylan was uncertain whether either the kitchen light or the bathroom light was on. The kitchen light might have been on, but the twinkle lights in the living room may have been on. So she was unclear about the lighting too. Degree of attention. Dylan acknowledged that her brain might have been fuzzy due to alcohol and sleepiness when she saw the intruder. She stated that she had been drinking alcohol just hours prior to peeking out her bedroom door around 4 a.m. and seeing an intruder. She was intoxicated when she arrived home around 1:15, 1:30-ish. She was probably, quote, very drunk, end quote, and tired when she saw the intruder at 4 a.m. So she's intoxicated. She gets home at 1:15, 1:30, and then she's texting the private driver at 2 and asking if he's still driving while she's very intoxicated. What do you guys think of that? You taking off vibrator? It also bothers me that they found blood DNA on the downstairs railing to the first floor. The killer didn't go to the first floor, but Dylan did. Right. The blood on the railing, it was on the front by the front door. How do you identify somebody wearing a mask if their face is covered up and all you see is their eyebrow on top of them? That she didn't recognize him looking at a photo. I think she may have texted the driver to see if she could get a ride somewhere. Didn't Kaylee and Maddie get home at like 1:56 or something like that? Regina Phalange, I believe DM. I've blacked out moments in my life when I was scared of being hurt. She never lied and said it was BK, but she knows those prominent eyes. You think, though, she would have remembered his eyes when seeing his mugshot. Mother of cycle breakers. Yeah, I saw a statement from the driver. I'd still like to know more about him. No, she texted the driver after Kaylee and Maddie got home. Yeah, so Eric drops them off at 1:56, drops off Kaylee and Maddie at 1:56, and then Dylan texts Eric 15 minutes later. Was the blood fresh or from past carrying on from parties? Right. Mike says, I was home invaded once. I have no idea what their faces look like. I can't remember. It's weird. I would be a horrible, horrible eyewitness. I don't remember anything. Hey, EG, did you hear any commotion as KG and MM walked in? Well, no, they're saying that it was 4 a.m., so it was like 2 hours later. They didn't say, Roro, if the driver answered back. They just said that they're using her text to the driver to establish a timeline of that night. What's LL? Linda Lane? Mia says, I'm scared that the jurors will convict regardless out of fear of backlash. Beckles, and didn't the defense lawyer state that his car is not in that area? She does, but that doesn't mean it's true. Linda Lane. I wonder if KG or MM lost something. ID, money, card. So they did. I will call CC. You call Grub Truck. You call EG. Yeah, maybe PC. Maybe. Maybe she thought she left. Well, but she asked if he was driving, not like, hey, did, Kaylee leave something in your car? NH girl, can you do a quick poll and see what chat thinks? Yeah, sure. We're 60-40 on Dylan being a reliable witness. All right. Do you think BK is the killer? You're only getting yes and no's. They didn't release explicit text from DM to EG. Why not? I don't know. They said they weren't even using it for anything else other than a timeline. Because the girls got dropped off at 1:56 and then she texted him 15 minutes later and was like, are you still driving? I mean, where could she have wanted a ride to if she was going to bed, You need a I don't know. All right, let me redo it. I never put I don't know, but I will. Okay, is BK the killer? All right, there you go. Even if you think someone else is involved, you would check yes on this poll. As of right now, knowing what you know, do you think they have the right person? Or are you still on the fence? And if you're on the fence, that's fine. Maybe you don't have enough information. You want to wait, like true crime and other stuff just said. I think she called to confirm he brought the other girls home. No one was replying. Yeah, but the time doesn't make sense. They weren't replying until 4 o'clock. She texted Kaylee at 4 o'clock. What's going on? She would know they were home because they were all up, remember? The murders didn't occur until 2 hours later. They didn't even bother. No, Regina, they didn't even bother to test it. It's not that it didn't have enough DNA sequence. They didn't even test it. We don't know that it wasn't enough to test. They said they didn't need to test it. They had a reason for it, and it wasn't that. I don't know. They could have a smoking gun, though. Andy says, in my opinion, people are making a big deal out of Dylan not being able to ID him, but she never claimed to be able to. I need more, but I'm waiting. So 45% of you say yes, 15% say no, 39% are on the fence. Yeah, I can't remember what the reason was. It was like they didn't feel it was necessary. Same with the glove. They never tested it. Maybe she wanted more alcohol but didn't want to drive. She's not old enough to buy alcohol. You think that Eric guy is going to risk his job buying alcohol for them? You're wearing a tinfoil hat? Aristocat? I bet his phone and car will tell the story. Okay, let's keep going. Accuracy of description. When asked if she could see the intruder's face, she testified, I wouldn't say I fully remember their face, but I remember seeing his eyebrows. So at some point, I probably did see his face and I don't remember it. This is what she said to the grand jury. So she was asked if she could see the intruder's face, and she told the grand jury, quote, I wouldn't say I fully remember their face, but I remember seeing his eyebrows. So at some point, I probably did see his face and I don't remember it. During other interviews, she said he was wearing a mask. During each interview, DM was uncertain. On December 30th, 2022, after the arrest of Mr. Kohberger, Dylan was interviewed by Detective Lake and Detective Tolson. When she learned that an arrest had been made, she found a mugshot of Mr. Kohberger online. When asked if Mr. Kohberger was the person she saw in the house, she did not know Mr. Kohberger was the intruder. She knew that the man had looked at her because of the bushy eyebrow. All that she remembered is some bushy eyebrow and all black and some sort of mask. Several weeks after the murders, DM thought that she saw a fireman. In her mind, DM thought the intruder went out the back sliding door, but she doesn't know, quote, if he actually went out the back door, end quote. Right? Because she locked herself in her room. So she doesn't really know if he went out the back door. The sliding back door was not visible from the doorway of DM's bedroom. The time between the event and ID. At approximately 4 a.m. on November 13th, 2022, DM saw the intruder. Roughly 8 hours later, the 911 call was made. More than 8 hours after seeing the intruder, DM provided a very limited and uncertain description of the intruder to 2 different officers. On November 17th, 4 days later, DM did not think she could sufficiently describe the intruder for a composite artist. On December 30th, after Mr. Kohberger's arrest, she could not recognize Mr. Kohberger from a photo. Further, by the time that DM testifies at trial later this year, more than 3.5 years will have passed since the murders occurred. Then they go into their argument. It says here, she has repeatedly, each time interviewed, expressed uncertainty about what she saw. These general descriptors could fit millions of individuals. Her uncertainty is repeated in each interview, and at least 8 hours passed before she interviewed the first time. 6 weeks passed before she was interviewed for the final time, and 6 months when she testified before the grand jury. Balancing the Manson-Bigger factors, there is no reliability of the physical characteristics that Dylan has reported. Hey, Jammers, Mr. Kohberger does not have bushy eyebrows, but the artwork on DM's wall, and that would... Wait. But the artwork on Dylan's wall, and that which should draws... That doesn't even make sense. And that which she draws eyes with eyebrows could be described as bushy, full, or prominent. There is a great risk that at trial in front of a jury, her testimony will be viewed as a clear identification of Mr. Kohberger. This would be a false ID and would prejudice the proceedings in a way that must be avoided. In this case, evidence of bushy eyebrows is not relevant to the crimes charged and would not tend to make any material or disputed fact of the crimes charged in this case more probable or less probable than it would be without the evidence. The purpose for admitting such testimony is for ID purposes. Given the argument above, such testimony is inadmissible. There is no other relevant reason to allow this testimony. So they're asking them to exclude the bushy eyebrows. So, wow. I don't know if what the state thinks about that. But lots of people have bushy eyebrows, right? Hey, Auntie Cheryl. It's me, Mike. Dylan's testimony will not be to identify BK. It will be for the timeline and knowing one guy similar to BK's size. BK evidence he left himself will be at the trial. I like the way you think, Mike. I do. So the next document we're going to look at. Actually, I'm going to play this audio for you first. And then we're going to look at Bryan Kohberger's alibi. The alibi PDF. You know, I was driving, gazing at the stars. My mind is still running. All right, there's the alibi. Oh, Heather, thank you so much. Thank you for your $10 super chat. Ice cream for your granddaughter. Thank you. She'll appreciate that. Thanks. Wonder how many guys got their eyebrows did after that, right? Another creator showed the eyebrows Dylan had on her wall. Where'd they get evidence pictures from? Where did they get pictures of sealed evidence? What creator showed sealed evidence? I'm curious. Anne. Yeah. Touch DNA on a knife sheath that killed 4 people. It's not a good look. But I'm curious who has sealed evidence. I know, I'm waiting, Jammers. I'm waiting. I think they have him on camera too, Mike. Yeah, it is. It's totally sealed. I want to know who has the picture of her eyebrows. Because it would be real easy to fake something like that. Oh, social media posts. Okay, that makes sense. Who showed it, though? I'm just curious. All right, we're going to listen to this audio of Steve Goncalves. He did an interview 2 days ago. Put a 1 in chat if you've heard Steve Goncalves' latest interview. If you zoom in, you see the corkboard. Really? I guess I'll have to look. I think it's interesting she had pictures of eyebrow. Like, is it just I haven't seen it either. All right, some of you have, some of you haven't. Okay, hang on. This is Beigefield talking to
that tragic
Steve.
morning. Steve, I know that mercifully that the authorities gave you that tape before the rest of us. You've had some time.
They're talking about the 911 call. Okay, so they got it before anybody else. So thankfully, they did the right thing and didn't shock the family by releasing this, right?
But beyond that, I don't know how, after 2.5 years of gag order, this landed with you. I don't know if this was more painful, more elucidating, a bitter pill. Tell me how you're coping with this at this point.
I'm a father, so it's not, my emotions are really my children and my wife. So I would say that they feel like they're slowly drowning, and I'm the guy that's trying to help them stay from drowning. And these slow leaks, this torturous process that we're going through, they've done a better job. They've responded to our feedback. We have said, hey, the 911 call is not something that we want to turn on TV and actually see. So they have responded. They have done a better job of, this is a community that doesn't know what murder is. They don't have any clue how to handle, public relations. It just doesn't really exist. So we're getting through it together, and it's hard to say it's getting better, but they are communicating, and we're trying to protect our children and protect all the families and protect the survivors to make sure that we don't have these trolls that are attacking them for no reason.
Did you get any clarity? Did you learn anything?
Did you hear what he said? It's getting better. Listen to this part again.
And we're trying to protect our children and protect all the families and protect the survivors to make sure that we don't have these trolls that are attacking them for no reason.
Did you get any clarity? Did you learn anything or any epiphanies when you listened to the call?
Yes. I mean, I always wanted it to make more sense. Like any murder, your brain wants to gravitate towards make this make sense, make this make sense. But the truth is, murder never makes sense. This is a psychopathic person who does something that breaks the norm of all of our consciousness. All of our minds are just struggling with the fact that this has happened. So we can logically try to make it make sense, but it's not really going to make sense. It's not Hollywood where they try to make it all fit together. In real life, you're just sitting there dumbfounded, why can somebody be killed in their bedroom? How does that make sense?
You mentioned in a statement today that you think Hunter Johnson protected those girls. I think I mean, listen, I don't know what happened, but I'm trying to piece this together like a puzzle, and it sure feels like he knew something and he protected Bethany from knowing. Do you think that he went up to the third floor and may have seen what happened to Kaylee and Maddie and therefore said, get out, get out, get out, but did not tell Bethany and did not tell Dylan?
I talked to Hunter directly, and it sucks. He had a broken soul. This is a man who's seen his best friend dead, like dying, like gone. So,
He said dying. Was Ethan actually gone? Or do you think that was just a slip up of words?
dead, like dying, like gone. And dead, like dying, like gone.
You think he just mixed up his words?
So we exchanged a moment, and I talked to him, and he was trying to protect everyone in that house to not go through what was overwhelming him at the moment. So I don't know about the details of upstairs, downstairs, door open, door not, but in the bigger picture, does it really matter? He was literally just responding to what he probably thought was a prank, thinking his friend, his best buddy, had these girls rolling, and he showed up there, and he seen the opposite of a prank. And
Okay, so he says, and he's talked to Hunter, he says that they probably thought it was a prank, meaning Emily and Hunter. That maybe they really didn't see what they were saying they saw, this man. So do you think that's why Emily sounded more calm? Because she really thought they're overreacting? They were drunk? Etc., etc.?
I seen it in his eyes. He was broken. He was very broken from what he had seen.
Well, did Hunter tell you that he was able to open the door to Xana's room and witness Xana and Ethan in there?
He told me that went to the door, and he was trying to go through that door, and he was trying to figure out what was going on in there. It's kind of like what you're hearing with that audio. He announced himself. He said, "Hey, I'm here. What's going on?" But they didn't respond, and he went in there. He seen something, and I think around 2:15, you hear when somebody truly sees something.
Thanks for watching. Go to join and
You don't hold account.
It cuts off there.
What's going on? But they didn't respond, and he went in there. He seen something, and I think around 2:15, you hear when somebody truly sees something.
2:15? Huh? Wait, hey, Misty, did I hear that right? I don't know why they cut it. Listen.
But they didn't respond, and he went in there. He seen something, and I think around 2:15, you hear when.
Oh, maybe 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
Somebody truly sees something.
Okay, 2 minutes and 15 seconds of the call. Okay, not the time. 2:15 in the call. Oh. All right, I'm going to go to 2:15 in the call.
Might be difficult to hear and is unedited.
Okay, I need to know what's going on right now if someone has passed out. Can you find that out?
Yeah, I'll come. Come on, Bethany, we gotta go check. But we have to. Is he passed out? I'm so
I'm getting help started that way.
Seconds later,
This isn't the call. Hold on. Let me pull it up from my page. I thought that was the whole damn call, but it's not. Let's go to
11.
2:15. All right. So this is 2:11. We're going to start right at 2:11.
Okay. One moment. I'm getting help started that way.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, that was 2:15 right there.
Okay. One moment. I'm getting help started that way.
Okay, thank
Right where she says, I'm getting help that way, that's when you can hear a scream in the background. That is right at the 2:15 mark.
Okay. One moment. I'm getting help started that way.
Okay, thank you.
Did you guys hear it?
One moment. I'm getting help started that way.
Okay, thank you.
Vivian, those things are not accurate.
Okay. One moment. I'm getting help started.
This is legit. All the news stations have it. So at 2:10 he's knocking. Xana, Ethan.
She's not waking up.
Okay. One moment. I'm getting help started that way.
Okay, thank you.
This breathing is after he saw what he saw. Or is that Dylan? Is that Dylan or Hunter? Get out, get out, get out. We should have warned Kaylee. I wonder if, like, the night before they considered, like, when they got down in the room, like, going upstairs to warn Kaylee. Or if she considered going upstairs to warn Kaylee and didn't. Like, we should have warned Kaylee. I don't know.
Okay, and how old is she?
She's 20.
20, you said?
Yes, 20 here to
Okay.
them.
Hello? Hello?
Okay, I need someone to stop passing the phone around because I've talked to 4 different people.
Okay, sorry, they just gave me the phone.
Is she breathing?
Hello?
Is she breathing?
No.
Okay.
You need to talk to them, okay? I can't talk to them. I need you to talk to them.
Okay. Hello.
Okay. I've already sent the ambulance and law enforcement. Stay on the line. If there is a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
Say that again. There's a police here right now.
Okay. If there is a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
We don't have one. I think yes. Do you have a defibrillator? Yes, you have one.
Are you talking to the officer?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to let you go since he's there with you and can help you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Okay.
11:59 a.m.
All right. I would imagine when Hunter found they had to be like stiff. They had to be. It's horrible. No matter who you think did it, it's freaking horrible. 40% of you think it's BK. 15% say no, and 37% are on the fence. All right, next document is the alibi document. And this is put forth by the state's motion in limine re alibi. Comes now the state of Idaho, by and through the Latah County prosecuting attorney, respectfully moves the court in limine for an order prohibiting defendant from presenting any evidence, whether by direct or cross, in support of any claimed alibi, other than from the defendant himself. By way of background, the state refers the court to the following. The state's May 23rd, 2023 request for discovery disclosure alibi demand, July 22nd, 2023 motion to compel notice of defense of alibi or alternatively to bar certain evidence, August 2nd, 2023 objection to the state's motion to compel motive or of defense of alibi or to bar certain evidence. The attached partial transcript of the August 18th, 2023 court hearing relating to alibi, where the then presiding John Judge observed that the defendant's proffered so-called alibi, not really an alibi. That's a quote from Judge. Quote, so-called alibi, not really an alibi, and that he will address the issue of alibi disclosure in a subsequent scheduling order. The August 22nd, 2023 scheduling order, which in paragraph 7 at page 2 addresses the deadline for the defense to comply with the alibi disclosure. The scheduling order was vacated when the defendant waived speedy trial. The state's December 21st, 2023 motion for scheduling, the second paragraph refers to the issue of alibi. So they go on and on. We don't have to read every single one of these lines. We want to read the transcript, though. So they're saying he failed to file for an alibi in, a timely manner. They don't want him to be able to put in an alibi. Now let's get to the transcript. Okay, so this was again on August 29th, 2024, and there was no cameras in here, so we were sitting here waiting for probably, to find out when the next hearing was. So the court. Okay, so next motion, I believe, is the state's motion to compel notice of defensive alibi. Mr. Thompson says, yes, sir, and thank you. And Judge, since the filing of our motion, looking at the defense's response, it looks like we made a little bit of progress. The defendant Mr. Kohberger has at least now stated that his alibi is he was out driving around that night. We knew that already. And if that's his alibi, so be it. What the defendant has still failed to do is comply with Idaho Code 19519 and Idaho Court Rule 12.1 that specifically requires the defendant to identify the names of witnesses who will be called to support the alibi along with their addresses. The defendant has only said, well, I may do that, or I may call witnesses, or I'll do it through cross-examination. And, of course, I have the right to testify on my own behalf. We don't question that. At this late date, I do not believe it is possible, even if the defense were to provide a list of the names and witnesses and addresses today, that with everything else that needs to be done leading up to a week before October 2nd, that there is any way the state could reasonably be expected to respond as contemplated by this rule and statute. So the state's position at this point is we will accept what the defendant has said, that he was driving around, although he should specify where he was driving. If he's not going to call anybody else, if he's not going to offer evidence from anyone other than himself, and that's none of our business. So we are willing to accept that, with an order from this court prohibiting the defense from offering third-party evidence, whether by direct or cross, in support of defendant's claimed alibi. If he wants to testify to that, that's his prerogative. Let me get Steve off the screen here. Oh, we don't have our chat up. What happened to our chat? There y'all are. Okay, so we are willing to accept that with an order from the court barring, if he wants to testify to that, that's his prerogative. But at this point, it is too late for the defense to comply with the statute and identify specifically people then and their addresses who would testify. That's where we stand now, Judge. Thank you. The court. All right, thank you. Who do I, Miss Taylor? It's me, Judge. All right. Miss Taylor, Your Honor, we have provided to the prosecutor what we can provide to the prosecutor and more. I think that Mr. Thompson is right. We don't have to tell the prosecutor if Bryan is going to testify. Or what Bryan might say. We have indicated that we would, that it's possible that we would have additional things that might come out through expert testimony on cross-examining the state's expert. I don't have documentation to give to the state today. I am not going to go into any more about it this moment. I understand what October 2nd is. I definitely understand that. And I have heard everybody's thoughts and concerns. I get that, but I mean, this is what we have, and when there is more, I will provide it. The court. Okay, thank you. Any response? Mr. Thompson. Your Honor, with all due respect, that is exactly what the rule and the statute are designed to prohibit. As the U.S. Supreme Court observed in Taylor v. Williams, the ease with which an alibi can be fabricated. The defense is waiting to gather up evidence, seeing what they can fabricate to match that evidence. Say, oh, by the way, here is our alibi now. That is specifically what is prohibited by the statute, by the rule, by the comments of the U.S. Supreme Court. Mr. Thompson, and Williams versus Florida. Trials are not yet a poker game where players enjoy an absolute right to always conceal their cards until played. That's what's going on here. That's why the rule exists. Just need to cut it off and we will move forward. The defendant can testify to his own alibi if that's what he wants to do, but it violates the rule, the statute, and the rights of the state to a fair trial to allow third-party evidence, whether by direct or cross. The court. So here's Judge. Okay, thank you. Well, the way I understand this is, and this is in the so-called alibi, not really an alibi, but, quote, he was out driving during the late night and early morning hours of November 12th to 13th. So what I'm going to do, because the next motion is for a scheduling order. I'm going to address this in terms of a deadline, and we'll see how that goes. Right now, that is as far as Mr. Kohberger wants to go with regard to alibi, and that's fine. But if there is going to be, and Miss Taylor, you suggested that there might be some witnesses, then you need to cough them up by a certain date, certainly before the trial. I have read the Albert case, which was interesting because there were late witnesses. The judge refused to allow them to testify, and the case was overturned by the Supreme Court. Or not the Idaho Supreme Court. Maybe it was the Court of Appeals. I don't know. I'm not looking at it. But then Perez, that was 2021. That was a Court of Appeals. And they said, out of luck if you were too late. And so I think, Miss Taylor, you acknowledge that potential risk to your client in your latest response to the request. So there is, some potential balancing there. And certainly Mr. Kohberger doesn't have to say a word. And that is protected by the Constitution of the United States of Idaho and Idaho. All right. So I guess that takes care of that for now until I'm going to give you the deadlines. So I think the last motion then, and again, this motion to dismiss and recording. What do you guys think of that? What's up, Texas Ranger? Oh, you guys got some debates. You got more than enough time. He thinks he's above himself. I think the girl was wasted, saw the eyebrows on her wall, and thought it was an intruder. Daroro, welcome to the Clicker Crew.
For making it happen. I want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
Ooh, you guys are... Okay, so here we go with BK the Killer. 47% say yes, 37% say they're not sure, and 16% say no. Oh, God, I was on top chat this whole time. How can you say no without seeing all the evidence? Can someone explain that? Someone who said no. How can you say no unless you did it? And you know he's not the right one. She saw a fireman and someone said, I'm here to help. This was the paramedics. She did hear someone say, don't worry, I'm here to help you. Oh, well, it goes both ways, Sassy. How can you say no without seeing all the evidence? I think they have the right guy. I just do. It's just what I think. But I just don't know how you can say definitively no. I mean, we have a probable cause. We have a grand jury indictment. You can kind of err on the side that, yeah, they probably have the right guy. But to say no, like the grand jury got it wrong, everybody got it wrong. You know what I mean? Stephanie, thank you for being 11. Wow, one more month and it'll be a whole year. Thank you for being here, Stephanie. I appreciate you. Look at you with the J. I mean, you could just go both ways with that. Like, I don't know. I think they have the right guy. I hope that there's more evidence. But to sit here and say definitively no, like he didn't do it, I just don't know where you can come to that conclusion. I'm just Chloe, because there's been a grand jury indictment, there's been probable cause affidavits, his DNA's at the scene. I mean, there's more pointing to than not. Mrs. Potts, I said no because the cell data will prove he wasn't in Moscow at all. Hey, Mr. Quinn. Sounds like BK. Yeah, there are a lot of pro burgers out there. We're trying to tolerate. She didn't say fireman until later, though, which is weird. She was probably having nightmares. I have a feeling the DNA will be the final nail no matter what. I don't know. They always say there's no such thing as a perfect crime, right? We've got one more document that I wanted to squeeze in here because I want to go over all these with you, but unfortunately my time is limited. So we're going to have to do this in stages, but I appreciate you guys being here. I might do some more streams on this to get through these docs because I didn't realize how much was actually in them. Been slacking a little bit. So we're playing catch up. This is the evidence entered. And this is the motion in limine. This was done also in private and has, been released. Okay, so let's read through this one. All right, so at trial, this I find super duper interesting. At trial, the state intends to introduce the following certified statements and or records under IRE 8036 and IRE 8038. So if the state is entering this into evidence, right, their job is to prove that BK did this. Mr. Quinn, you're welcome. So can we agree on that? That if the state is submitting this evidence, they believe that it will show the jury that Bryan Kohberger did the crime, right? We're all on the same page. Lisa Rose, I'm so glad you're here. Can we agree on that before I start reading and going through the evidence that the state is putting in against Bryan Kohberger? The slow burgers. 11 months, almost a whole ass year. Wow, Kels. Time has flown. I love you, girl. I'm so glad you found us. Okay, so we can agree that they are going to use all of this stuff to prove Bryan Kohberger's guilt. And really, I mean, touch DNA isn't any less important, right? It's just a smaller amount. We just have the capability to now test this DNA at a small amount, like a trace amount, right? It's a newer capability that we have that maybe Bryan Kohberger didn't take into consideration. Yeah, and he just so happens he was stargazing at YYY State Park. Put a 1 in chat if you're familiar with the YYY, or whatever it's called, State Park that he was allegedly stargazing at. Guess what? Guess what, Rich Buddy? That's where Ted Bundy left a victim, at the YYY State Park. And then Bryan Kohberger's over there stargazing? Come on. Well, I'm not a DNA expert, but there was no other DNA on the knife sheath except his. It's not like somebody else's was all over it. Somebody was clearly not trying to touch that knife sheath, right? Mm-hmm. I heard you, Rich Buddy. Right, but that's a Ted Bundy place. Weird. Yeah. Why? We went deep on this case, y'all. You should go back in my playlist. We have a lot of deep dives. Tons of them. Let me see if I can find that video. I'd love to play it. If anybody can find it, Kels, I don't know. You're good at that stuff. It's the why. I actually have that in the title. And then I think Kohberger and Bundy on the thumbnail. I'm trying to find it. If you find it, let me know. We have, oh my gosh, we have like all the warrant docs we went through. Remember the Strava app? Maybe the Strava app will place him somewhere. Oh, here it is. I found it. Why? Right there. All right, before we get in the evidence, I'm going to play this video for y'all. Because I don't even remember what this video says. I made this 10 months ago. 10 months ago already. I can't believe it. Okay, so this video is old Jay from 10 months ago. Let's take a listen. Of note, he explored, well, why? Are you kidding me? Are we going to hear this throughout this whole trial? Why Park in July of 2022. And this became a favorite location. Let's find out why that became Kohberger's favorite location. You may be asking yourself, what is she talking about? Let's get into it. This is supported by data from Mr. Kohberger's phone, showing him in the countryside, late at night, and or in the early morning on several occasions. The phone data includes numerous photographs taken on several different late evenings and early mornings, including in November, depicting the night sky. Mr. Kohberger was out driving morning hours of November 13th, 2022, as he often did to hike and run and or see the moon and stars. He drove throughout the area south of Pullman, Washington, west of Moscow, including YYY Park. And this is where it gets creepy, and we introduce the next Kohberger game, so to speak. So we've all looked at YYY Park. So let me explain to you why I think Bryan Kohberger chose this location to be part of his case. Much thanks to Sirius Black for sending me this information. I believe Kohberger chose this location to be part of his case because of Joyce Margaret LePage. Joyce LePage, who was 21 at the time, was last seen on July 22nd, 1971, on the campus of Deep Ravine, south of Pullman, Washington. Multiple suspects, including Bundy, have never been cleared, according to investigators. Joyce was an athletic and intelligent student. Her decision to attend Washington State was not a surprise to the LePage family. But Joyce would not graduate. In fact, Joyce would never grow beyond the age of 21 years old. In the summer of 1971, the WSU junior disappeared without a trace. 9 months after her disappearance, her remains were found April 16th, 1972, in a gully roughly 10 to 15 miles south of Pullman, west of Colton, just off Wawawai Road in remote Wawawai Canyon. Her mostly skeletal remains were wrapped inside a military blanket and green carpet. The green carpet had gone missing roughly 10 days before she was reported missing from the university's Stevens Hall, which was under construction at the time she disappeared. Joyce was known to hang out on the first floor of the vacant dorm, where she would study, play piano, and relax from the stress of taking extra classes during the summer term. An extensive cold case file shows the Whitman County Sheriff's Office reported she was most likely killed when WSU police first investigated the missing carpet. Joyce was someone's daughter, sister, and friend. She was a person for the LePage family they mourned. There are still families who miss and love her. She was the second out of 5 children. Joyce was the second after her sister Phyllis. She had 3 younger brothers, Bruce, Stephen, and David. Joyce and her brothers and sisters grew up on the family farm on LaPorte Drive. As a child, Joyce would often pester her brothers and leave them scattered notes when they were too noisy or bothersome. The family reported her missing after she didn't come home for a weekend visit in Pasco. The Whitman County Sheriff's Office reported her remains were sent to the FBI for examination. The FBI discovered 7 possible knife markings on her ribs that they reported being the cause of death. However, after 9 months in a gully of Wawawai Canyon, animals and scavengers had consumed part of Joyce's decomposed remains. A unique set of hurdles had been placed for this case. She wasn't reported missing for 10 days, and DNA testing didn't really hit the scene for another 20 years. Most of the materials and resources are well over 50 years old, and that timeline factors into, between her going missing and her officially being declared a murder victim, a lot of information we need is missing. There have been numerous suspects and persons of interest throughout the years. However, any of those individuals would be well into their elderly age or have died. One person of interest, a convicted serial killer, in particular, died in '89. Ted Bundy confessed to 30 murders and was confirmed in 20. He was a person of interest in the disappearance of Joyce LePage and Lori Partridge of Spokane. Bundy, however, never confessed to Joyce's murder, and he denied responsibility for Joyce's death before his execution in 1989 in Florida's Old Sparky electric chair. "We have to broaden the case out," said one of the investigators, "and take all the possibilities. Ted Bundy is one of them." In the last few years, there's been a reward for anyone who can provide information that leads to the arrest and conviction of the person responsible. The reward is $100,000, $40,000 for information that leads to an arrest, with an additional $60,000 if that leads to a conviction. And this investigator said that he will remain involved and keep the reward up to $100,000 for as long as he is alive. And anyone with information on Joyce LePage's disappearance and homicide should contact the Whitman County Sheriff's Office at 509-397-6266. So this, my friends, is why I think Bryan Kohberger chose this location to be in his trial. And not to mention, it became his favorite place in the month of July, the same month that Joyce went missing. That means Ted Bundy, if he was the killer of Joyce, was at Wawawai Canyon in July. The same as
Bryan Kohberger.
You're going to have freaking Bill Thompson. Well, he was at Wawawai. Well, he didn't leave that at Wawawai. Everything's going to be why. And that's going to be the question we're left with at the end of this mess is why? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'll see you guys in the next one. So what do you think? Kind of weird, huh? WSU student. Hey, Brandy. Good to see ya. Good to see you off the X. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I thought it was freaking interesting that there's like a connection, right? Yeah, that's Bryan next to Bundy. Isn't that weird? Wicked West, isn't that wild? What? Mrs. Potts. No, we're going to say why. Wait, Mrs. Potts, where are you? Why? Are they ignoring all the other men's blood in that scene that didn't match Kohberger? Yeah, it's wild, huh? Creepy. Creep town, dude. That's what I got to say about that. All right, let's go back to the state's evidence. Thank you guys for watching that. I think, there's just a lot of things that keep popping in my head as we go through.
You're awesome.
Thank you for subscribing, Allison. Silly Goose RN. I need to know why DM and BF waited so long to call 911. I don't think they had anything to do with it. But what did they already know? I really, I wonder that too. That is a long time. They found other DNA. Hey, Fem. Yeah, I know they didn't test them. It's weird. It's very weird. All right, let's go over this evidence. This is a great Monday Live. Thanks, you guys, for being here today. Okay, so at trial, the state intends to introduce the following certified statements and or records. So 1320 Linda Lane surveillance footage for November 13th, 2022. 1330 Linda Lane surveillance for November 13th. So they're going to say that's Kohberger on Linda Lane. They obviously have him on video. They want video and business records for the Albertsons in Clarkston. Amazon financial and user records for Bryan Kohberger have been entered. Not that they want, they're entering this. They have this. The state has this. It's entered as evidence. Okay. Amazon financial and user records for Bryan Kohberger. And then they have serial numbers. And if you go back in the evidence warrants, the warrants for this information from Amazon, they give an item number. And apparently they must have found a K-bar knife that he bought because they had the serial number and they were doing searches on Amazon for something, right? With the knife in the sheath. AT&T phone records for Bryan, Maddie, and Xana. Bagel shop video surveillance video for November 13th. Bank of America bank records for Bethany and Xana. Banner Bank for Ethan Chapin. Cafe Arista video surveillance video for November 13th. This is where it gets interesting. Unless they just plan on showing Maddie and Kaylee at the bar. Because I know it's been debated in if Bryan was at the Corner Club. We've never known, right? We really don't know. But they have Corner Club video surveillance from the 12th to the 13th. The financial transactions for the receipts of sale for November 13th. Costco in Clarkston for November 13th. DeSales student records regarding Bryan Kohberger. So the state is putting in some records from DeSales. What do you think those are? Classes he took? Things he studied, maybe? Miss Potts, what do we need investigators for when we have you? You're funny. Dick's Sporting Goods, record of sale for Bryan Kohberger. Discover financial records for Kaylee. DoorDash records for Xana and Ethan. Mrs. Potts. Early warning records. Now this, I don't know what that is. What's early warning records? Does anybody know? Early morning. What is early warning records? So I just. Oh, wow. It's a consumer report. Oh. Okay, so early warning services reports are consumer reports focused on banking history, including account activity, overdrafts, and account closures. And it's used to assess risk. Okay, so it gives you the following activity: account activity, overdrafts, and closed accounts. Thank you, Pines. I definitely won't fall asleep. Elan financial records for Kaylee. E&S Services at 1300 Johnson Avenue in Pullman. This is surveillance for November 13th. Farmers Insurance, surveillance for November 13th. Floyd's Cannabis Company, surveillance video for November 13th. So these are all E&S, Farmers Insurance, and Floyd's Cannabis must have him on camera. That's all I can say. That's all I can succumb to that. Hey, Sen. Forrest Dax. Now, this is interesting as well. Crypto.com financial records for Bryan Kohberger. So Bryan Kohberger had crypto. He could have also bought things with crypto. Grub truck video surveillance video for November 13th. Harbor Freight business and surveillance records. Now, this one's interesting because it doesn't give you a date. It just says Harbor Freight business and surveillance records. Hard drive provided on April 5th, but it doesn't give you a date of what the surveillance is from. Idaho Central Credit Union bank records for Maddie. Indian Mountain Lake surveillance and records. Anybody know what that means? Thank you, Flobo. And Locked and Loaded. Welcome to the Clickers.
For making it happen. I want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
What do you guys think of that? Indian Mountain Lake surveillance and records with no date. Where is Indian Mountain Lake? Indian Mountain Lake. What is that? Who went there? In Pennsylvania? You guys dropped the DNA. Pennsylvania is Indian Mountain Lake? Okay, well, they have surveillance and records from Indian Mountain Lake. So what was he doing there? Oh, that's where his gated community. Indian Mountain Lake, is it? Oh, okay. What? Okay, so they were watching him in his neighborhood. Got it. It's in the Poconos. I see. Indian Mountain Lakes community, right? His parents' home. Yeah, okay. Got it. Got it. Okay. We know he was being watched, so that's not a big surprise. Joanne Fabrics financial records. So something was bought at Joanne Fabrics that he used. You can't tell me I'm wrong. Joanne Fabrics. Latah County Sheriff's Office Deputy Darren Duke body camera on August 21st, 2022. This is where Bryan was detained. And he was cited for not wearing a seatbelt. On August 21st, 2022. Joanne's, well, something was bought there, okay? Because they don't want surveillance. They just want the financial records. Right? They're not asking for surveillance. They just want fabric or financial records. Fabric. So what did he buy there? Then they have the citation for the no seatbelt on the 21st of August, which I'd love to see that body camera footage of him. I want to know what they questioned him about. Marshall's financial records for Bryan Kohberger with no date. It's a craft store, yeah. Sewing needles? Why would he need those? No, they sell like fabric. I don't know. They sell a lot of stuff. Paint. I don't know. It's a craft store, right? It has everything. Did he buy, I don't know. Who knows what the hell he bought? He could have bought anything. Marshall's. He went to Marshall's. National Weather Service records for the 12th and the 13th. Numerica bank records for Kaylee. PayPal and Venmo financial records, but it doesn't say for who. PNC bank records for Bryan Kohberger. Pentel data records. Pennsylvania State Employees Credit Union for Bryan Kohberger. Petco financial records for Kaylee Goncalves. So why would that be? Why would they have Petco records for her? I mean, do they need to prove that? I don't know why it doesn't specify. It's weird. But do they need to prove that she bought Murphy? Joanne's is closing, you guys. Rite Aid financial records. But it doesn't say for who. It's weird because here it says Petco for Kaylee, Rite Aid financial records. Ross financial records doesn't say for who. Hazel, we don't know. Not that we know of. Not that we know of. Did you guys figure out what the viewer's choice is going to be? You guys got it, mods? Come on. Get some ideas going. Sunset Mart surveillance on November 13th. That's probably where there's two. Sunset Mart in Moscow and Sunset Mart in Pullman on the 13th of November. You're going to that, Albers? That's crazy. You should ask the cashier, like, do you know which cashier checked out Bryan Kohberger? PK, you should ask. Like, does the cashier still work here that checked out Bryan Kohberger? And then like be like, what did he buy? Okay, Target financial records doesn't specify who they're for. TikTok user records for Xana. We know that Xana was on TikTok right around the times of the attacks. Right around the time of the attacks. He made a blanket. He knitted a blanket to watch the stars. TJX, that's TJ Maxx, financial records for Dylan. Isn't that TJ, or maybe that's a bank. TJX, financial records for DM. T-Mobile phone records for Kaylee. Umpqua bank records for Dylan. Under Armour transaction records for Bryan Kohberger. U.S. Chef Store Clarkston video surveillance for November 13th. Alta financial records. I mean, that's got to be for the girls, right? But it doesn't say who it's for, so we don't know. Verizon phone records for Ethan, Bethany, and Jack DeCour. See that? Verizon phone records for Ethan, Bethany, and Jack. Walmart surveillance and financial transaction records for Bryan Kohberger. Walmart surveillance and records, but no date. No date on the Walmart for him. Washington Department of Motor Vehicles surveillance video for November 18th. That's when he went and got his registration. And then they have the registration documents. So he's on video there. I wonder if there's any noticeable things on his hands or anything like that. Washington Trust bank records for Bryan Kohberger. Yeah, and there was Dickies purchase, remember? The Dickies jumpsuit. Hi, DW from England. Good to see you, beautiful. All of this could be just established timeline movements. Maybe. We don't know what we don't know. Okay, so Wells Fargo for Maddie. And then we have Winco financial records for Bryan Kohberger. What's Winco? Is that a grocery store? Winco? You want the stream to be dual with her and Clue on Idaho? Okay. Let me know if you have any other ideas. Thank you, Alabama. Okay, so Winco financial records for Bryan Kohberger. But then we also have Winco financial records and video surveillance for Bethany, Dylan, Kaylee, Maddie, and Xana. Make that make sense. Were they at the store at the same time? Mom, it could be to prove their purchases that night. I don't know. One-eyed Flo. Get him in shape. Right. So were they all there at the same time? Was he following them in the supermarket? Was there something creepy in the supermarket? Right. Explore core proof of stalking, maybe? Winco is 1.7 miles from 1122, where he got the seatbelt ticket August 21st at 11 p.m. Wow. If Clue will have us, yeah. We'll have to ask Clue. Alabama, you'll have to ask Clue. There are 2 mountain lakes in Idaho. The one for 1 hour, 40 minutes drive is north of Moscow. I think it's his neighborhood, though, Goma. I really do. Could this be to prove he was stalking them outside the house? Huh. So they have video of the girls, but it doesn't say video of him. It just says financial records for him. And it doesn't specify where. Goma. I mean, we are videoed everywhere we go when we're out in public, guys. I mean, there's street cameras, there's everybody has cameras. Anywhere you go, you are pretty much videoed. This sure feels like a lot of purchases to be entered in if it's not pertaining to items used in the murder. Hey, Oscar Meyer. Washington State University video surveillance for November 13th. So was he at WSU on the 13th? WSU parking records. Was he at the school on the 13th? That's the end of it. So, I mean, I'm sure they're going to add more, right? This one, though, is dated, let's see. Linda Lane is the very first one, too. Is there a date on this? Oh, yeah, 2/24. Wow. So this is what they have entered so far. A lot of this seems like like video surveillance for 13th. Bagel shop. Like, did he drive by? Did he go in? Cafe Arista. You know what I mean? Costco. Is this a drive-by? Dick's Sporting Goods. I mean, when did he go there? We don't know. But it's interesting, isn't it? He was messaging the 2 girls online. You think so? Tripp says, I'm telling you, he's cooked. Well done. Did you guys get your votes in? His profile was messaging them online. Oh. Do we have proof of that, though? But they said there was no messaging in the documents. I'm so confused. Yeah, he's a shopper, that's for sure. Let me see if I can pull up the Amazon really quick. Because I think they specifically looked for an item number. Hang on.
Prosecutors in the case of Bryan Kohberger, the man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students last fall, are demanding information from several tech companies. Newly unsealed court documents show that search warrants were obtained in July and August for customer accounts at companies including Amazon, Apple, and PayPal. Information demanded from Amazon included all detailed customer click activity pertaining to knives and accessories. That is a quote. Kohberger's DNA was found on the sheath.
So they requested any purchases or any clicks, like if you go on Amazon, everything you look at, they can pull up. They can pull up all your history. They can pull up all your history of everything you've ever clicked. And the DNA stays. I mean, that motion was denied. The DNA is going to be in the case. Juries love DNA, too. Juries love DNA. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to find that document real quick. Hold on. There's a reason he doesn't want that Amazon shopping list in evidence. There's a reason. The defense wants to suppress the Amazon subpoenas and warrants. Okay, so look at this. It tells you right there that they must have something on him because of this. Why else would you want it suppressed? Unless it was incriminating against you. So here we have, based upon this is the motion to seal. But Lawrence Mowry served the search warrant upon Amazon on November 26th, 2022 at 3:32 p.m. And this is what they want. ASIN number, and then they have that item number. It's a K-bar full-size U.S. Marine Corps fighting knife. And then ASIN number here, K-bar 1217S, leather sheath, USMC logo. So you're telling me that if Amazon returned a purchase for the exact same knife and sheath, that you think it was planted? So it says they want the Amazon related to the sales of the following items for the period of January 1st, 2022 to present. And then they have the knife and sheath. And then they want account information for the above named individuals, entities on Amazon. And they must have gotten it back because it's entered as evidence. And he wants it out. Contact information, billing information, account opening date, account closing date, any other information retained in connection with the identified accounts, order details, purchase history for all transactions conducted by the above named individuals, entities on Amazon.com or any Amazon.com affiliated storefront, including IP address information for purchases made. Payment information for payments made by Amazon.com. All customer interaction between Amazon and the above named individual to include call notes, call recordings, email, or written correspondence. Oh my God, Jeff H. I cannot with you. But yes, it seems like they can if there's a warrant. Well, they obviously got something back because they entered it as evidence. And then they get it back and they seal it. Because up here, you see that Amazon produced what they asked for. And up here at the very top, on February 10th, 2023, they had a Zoom meeting and they wanted the Amazon stuff sealed. So it has been sealed since 2/27/2023. So if he actually bought a K-bar knife and sheath and then his DNA ends up on the snap, he's done. He's done. Well, he may have used a different device, Texas, so this alleviates that, right? This goes to just Bryan Kohberger's account. And then they match it up with the bank records. And they can match it up with, maybe computer records. But if he clears things, they can't. Because remember, they found the hard drive in his car as well. We can't forget all of this evidence. There's so much evidence. Now, if we go back to, real quick, let's go to the, or not the PCA, but the search warrant from PA, not the PCA. Sorry, I spoke wrong. The classic one, there's so much data about us by everyone you may not believe. I know. Cricket, I've thought of that too. But this is what they got from the PA, right? From the PA house. 1 Defiant silver flashlight, 4 medical style gloves, white Arizona Jean Company large t-shirt, Champion WSU Cougars large black sweatshirt, pair of black and white size 13 Nike shoes, pair of black Under Armour socks, Under Armour black large shorts, Under Armour black boxers. So remember, they have the Under Armour purchases as well. 1 buccal swab, which matched the DNA on the sheath. And then we go down here. That's not what I was looking for. Okay, here we go. 7 quarters, 36 dimes, 32 nickels, 8 pennies, gloves, receipts, car insurance registration, hiking boots, comfort inn room key holder, tire irons, shovel, goggles, wrench, door panel. They took his whole door panel. Band-aids. The following items from inside the home. A knife. How do we know? They don't say it's a K-bar knife. They don't say it's a butcher knife. They don't say it's a pocket knife. They just say knife. How do we know that that's not a K-bar? Goba, I think that's in the transcripts with Detective Payne, and we can go over those in another live. So we have just a plain old knife found, right? We don't know what kind of knife. Could that be the smoking gun? Yeah, I mean, it just says knife, and it's number 1 on the list. No one wants to talk about that. A Glock 22 .40 caliber. But this one, see, look, it says Smith Wesson pocket knife. They're specific about the pocket knife. Kaylee thought she had a stalker. Yeah. I think it's interesting that there's surveillance from the same store of all the girls. You know? 3 black .40 caliber magazines that were empty. Now, here's another specific knife. A Taylor cutlery knife with a sheath. Black face mask. I'm not sure, Misty. There were different, there were stabs, there were punctures, there were tears, yeah. I think the ones that fought back probably had worse wounds, right? Versus the ones that were sleeping or, stunned upon. Black face mask. So all this came from his damn car or his house. Black face mask, black gloves, black hat, black mask. AT&T bill for Bryan Kohberger. book with underlining on page 118. I still want to know what that is. Prescriptions: cell phone, laptop, multiple dark colored pants, Columbia Navy fleece, New Balance shoes, which is interesting because Kohberger's dad wears New Balance shoes, 2 pairs of dark colored boots, a criminal psychology book, a note to dad from Bryan. I'd love to know what that note says. So, I don't know. Let's see the results of our poll, though. We have, is BK the killer? Are you guys ready for your... We don't know. Yeah, we don't know if they did, what they found. He had ID cards. Yeah, Goma. They're pretty big knives. They're pretty big knives. Well, you know what was weird is that Ethan's autopsy was actually used in the PCA. And remember, he was said to have the worst wounds. Hey, Robat, good to see ya. Hope you're having a good Monday. People need to remember all these coincidences add up to be more than just a coincidence. Exactly. Hold on, I want to show you guys something from an old video. Trying to find it. Hold on. Oh, remember Cassie too? I wonder if she will testify. The friend of Bryan's. Remember the friend of Bryan's from PA? Okay, hold up. I found the video. Hold on a second. I thought one of these was going to be for the house. I thought the one we already read was for his person. All right, let's go on. Date of search is 12:30. Date of return is 1:12. Time of return 2:02 p.m. So the time of there's his dad and his where were they? Look at, he's wearing New Balance. I told you. Like, what is he doing? This is so weird. It's so weird to me. But here's where I go over what was taken exactly. A motherboard. See, that news article didn't cover it all. We have a man's mind drawing. Remember that? Various criminology books, notes, license, card. 10 cards inside glove, inside box. Is that what that says? Water damage? Kevin Kohberger crimes. Various criminology books. Hello, Joey. Books. Newt. What's Newt? License and card. Various criminology books. Note, maybe? License card? License and card? What kind of license? What kind of card? Dark color hats, black gloves. But couldn't some of this stuff been of his dad's if it was in the house? Like the hats and gloves and the masks. I mean, his dad was clearly wearing a black mask and his mom was wearing a black mask covering her face. Seagrave, Barracuda 1TB, Samsung solid state drive. Black box Samsung NVMe SSO. What is that thing? Box with Intel Optune and box. That is something, he was doing some technical stuff. You think so, Joey? So he removed hard drives and motherboards from these computers. 2 pair of black gloves, 1 black knit hat, dark green short sleeve shirt, black long sleeve shirt, black sweatshirt, gray jacket, 2 pair black pants, 1 pair black jeans, and 2 pairs of black jeans. 2 black long sleeve shirts, 2 pair of black pants, 1 gray jacket, 1 gray knit felt hat, and 1 black glove. I wish they would have said what size the New Balance, which might be. And then here's the motherboard with the serial number, Washington State University paperwork, which might be that he was written up by, his superior. That might be the Washington State.
Remember, he
paperwork.
was written up. Remember, he was written up. Note from Bryan from Montana.
Oh, if they build their own computers, maybe. Oh, Mike, I'm sorry to hear that you're not feeling good. I hope you feel better. Hopefully you don't. Would they unleash on us now, right? 2, let's see, motherboard, Washington State, note from Bryan from Montana. That is interesting. That is super interesting to me. Why would he be in Montana?
But do you know they pulled him? Didn't they pull his dad over on Christmas Eve? Why'd they pull his dad over on Christmas Eve, Miss Potts?
Did he live in Montana at some time? And weird. Yeah, Daily Mail. We have who's wearing New Balance. This dude's wearing, look, what the heck? He's wearing New Balance shoes. And he's got a shop vac in his hand. And a water bottle in his back. What the heck? At least we don't have a Life is Good sweatshirt collected. Then I'd be like, okay, what's going on here? Is that a Craftsman? I don't know. Obviously, you can't see the damn brand.
And this is where the vacuum emoji
But looks like Dad wears New Balance.
came from.
And obviously they didn't confiscate his New Balance because he's wearing them. Because this was after the raid. He was apparently cleaning up the glass and shit. You think it is Craftsman, Jill? So hopefully they had like... Oh, right. But this, I know, is it's almost like, it's like you can't make this stuff up. Right, Wall Stretcher? I mean, like this picture, look at this one. It's almost like it was posed. Look, he's almost smiling at them. Like, hey, what's up? He has an Ace garbage can, but yeah. Crystalline. Who's Crystalline?
Okay, let's get into more of the search warrant here.
Up here, I think it says. Where is the shot back? Oh, right here. Number 47. Craftsman shop vac. Number 47. Kevin, I don't know, man. I don't know. Thank you, DC3. Thank you for your super sticker. You know, most of these Idaho 4 videos and live streams get demonetized. So thank you. I appreciate your support. Also, they followed him. Remember, they saw him driving all around Monroe County.
Look how tan I was.
Which I thought was interesting. Where did Bryan go? And why did his dad get a ticket and get pulled over on Christmas Eve? Why was Mr. Michael Kohberger driving around on Christmas Eve? Like, where were they going? Okay, so mine is a Craftsman, and the only place it says Craftsman is not very big, but under the power button. Well, it doesn't say what kind of shovel it was. It depends on what kind of shovel. It doesn't say snow shovel. If you have like a spear shovel in your car, you might just be a little creepy. I could see a snow shovel.
What, Jackie? What? Nightbot, what are you talking about? You think he was going to church? I'm not saying he's involved in this, but I just think there's more to the stories. So it's not a poo shovel. He doesn't seem to like the type to do yard work, let alone clean up after his own mess. You don't think so? What if he is OCD, like they said? He might be a clean freak. Totally shovel it. Montana again. What about the note in the desk, though? What's that all about? And then a note to dad? Wasn't that in here, too? Where's the note to dad? Note to dad from Bryan, number 50. Number 50. Hannah, Montana. Bye, Joey. Here's the link to this video. A note to dad. Note from Bryan from Montana.
Thank you for joining,
It doesn't say
EB.
note to Bryan from Montana or note to Montana from Bryan. It says note from Bryan from Montana. Maybe Bryan. Oh, you know what it could be? You know what it could be? Listen, it could be that Bryan went out west to check out the university. Before he went there, maybe he sent them a note from Montana. I don't know. I've always thought that he would have had to have gone out there because you're not just going to like go, to Washington and not check it out first, right? If you've never been there. You have a camping spade shovel in your car, but do you camp? Like if you have a use for it, that's cool. But people that have shovels in their cars and like weird things, and they don't, use it for the intended purpose, then you have to wonder.
Note from Bryan from Montana. So did he send it from Montana, guys?
Or why? But why would he write a note from Montana? How many knives at this point? Mandy Jo wants to know. Well, let's look. We have a Taylor cutlery knife with leather sheath. Let's see what that looks like. Let me Google that. Taylor cutlery knife. Knives. Whole life up until
there it is.
2019. I don't know, my whole life. Never, ever carried a shovel in my car. Ever. My parents never did. My siblings never did. None of my friends carried shovels. None of us did.
All right. So here is the link to that video where I go pretty deep with the PA search warrants and stuff. And you can check out, thank you so much, mods, for putting my playlists in this live stream because I've done a lot of work on this case and it's been a while. It's really interesting now that, the momentum is picking up leading up to the trial. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream today. Thank you for joining me for this Monday live stream. We're going to definitely go back in to this case as we keep going through these documents and revisiting. It does not say what kind of shovel. No, it doesn't. But hey, thank you guys. Thanks for meeting our goal. I will get with Clue and see if we can't get a duel set up. Hopefully she will agree. This is the Taylor cutlery knife. This is not the K-bar. Let me get that off the screen. That's not a K-bar. It's a different knife they collected from Bryan. Thank you, Jojo Madre. Hey, Maligator. Oscar Meyer, thank you for subscribing. Let's run our credits, Myron, and get the heck on out of here. You guys enjoy the rest of your Monday. If you're not subscribed to my second channel, where we let loose and bust it out on the liars, the fakes, and the frauds of YouTube, sub up over there. We get a little raunchy, but it's all good. It's all good. It's all about truth. See you guys in the next one. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this live stream or video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on my latest content. Want to take it a step further?
Bring it all in.
And join our community clickers by becoming a Patreon or a YouTube member. You'll get exclusive access to our Discord server, special channel perks, and much more. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.
Click. It's real easy, man.